it was funny because I got the part and immediately started looking at the comic books, and the guy's 500 pounds or something and looks like Schwarzenegger, and I thought, okay, I'm not going to get to that, so but I have to get bigger, and so it became about eating a lot and training a lot, and they kept saying, yeah, just get as big as you can, and then I came back just before Christmas, just before we started the movie, and had a final sort of camera test, and put the costume on, and within a couple of minutes my hands started going numb, and everyone was like, yeah, that's not cool, and I started getting pins and needles, and you'd touch the skin and the blood wouldn't return to that area so quick, and I thought, okay, it doesn't fit, and so we had to sort of...
What was it made of? Like that was
well, it was all sorts of sort of leather and chainmail, sort of armour and what have you, but it was the measurements they'd taken 3 months ago were no longer the measurements I was fitting. So there were some alterations, and then also I was just too thick anyway. It was sort of basically Ken said, it's good, you've got the size there, and let's just sort of try and pull it back just a little bit because it's otherwise it's too sort of blocky.
Right. So so you just stopped eating so much, working out?
So much, and then sort of trained. I changed my programs from sort of heavy weightlifting to more sort of cardio, sort of CrossFit style things. So
now, people who see this film, who have just come out of seeing In the Heart of the Sea, are going to be very surprised by your body. This is actually quite small for you right now. So I'm curious, is it becoming harder for you to go back and forth between bigger and smaller? And would you lose that kind of weight again for a role?
I don't think I'd lose it again, no, because it's just too exhausting, and I don't know, there are smarter ways of doing it now, I think. Camera, sort of trickery and so on, but I don't mind varying, going up to Thor weight and then going back down to my normal body weight. It's easier to put it on than it is to take it off. It gets harder each time. You sort of, once you kind of put it on, that mass, your body's like, nah, it's staying here. So, and that's not very much fun to not eat.
It seemed like every time we had a meeting about the movie, we'd go to a restaurant, and these guys would all eat, and I would just sit there at menus. I would sit in restaurants smelling food. Go to my favorite breakfast place and just smell the pancakes.
Tom Hooper, first day rehearsal, said, I need you, actually before then, he said, I need you unrecognizable. He said, if people recognize you, I want them to think you're sick in real life, so I do my best.
Is it true you deprived yourself of water for 36 hours?
Yeah, my trainer on this movie, incredible guy David Kingsbury, has at one point in his life was a bodybuilder, and he knew of this water restriction thing, which is what bodybuilders do before a show, and you can lose up to 10 pounds of body weight, and right off the surface, do not do this at home, trust me. And so it really sinks in your chest. I was already quite skinny, but it makes it quite drastic. Your eyes get sunken. I look like hell, basically. And trust me, the headache after about 20 hours is something I don't want to repeat.
I can imagine. But then you get to put the weight back on. That's been quite nice.
That was more fun. But it was a tough job. Each day was about 3 hours in the gym. It was pretty intense.
A lot of chicken.
Yeah.
Just chicken.
How do you not have fat on you when you're like undoubtedly a bit of a beer swelling Canadian?
You have to deny your roots in those moments.
Right.
Just, buckle down and drink chicken shakes.
Right. Chicken shakes, you just push-ups and
yeah.
stuff like that, yeah.
All that stuff.
It's a very long, complicated process with a lot of knowledge required to achieve the thing. That's why we have our trainers who do all that and just tell us what to do and tell us what to eat. I would say, as far as a tip of the person who's being trained, is when it starts to hurt badly and you want to quit, that's really when you shouldn't quit.
Okay, and you?
Yeah, I think it's just about, the discipline of continuing to do something that you don't want to do and forcing yourself to show up and keep exercising. It's kind of that simple, it's not pleasant. It's, you feel like you don't want to do it anymore, and that's when you have to keep going.
Now for the stunt work, you have to be in top shape. And you are looking fine in this film.
Thank you.
So what do you do to stay in shape?
I work out pretty much every day. I've tried to change the routine. I'm always looking for new bodybuilding routines, and I have. So now I've got it down to like an hour a day, 5 times a week, but mostly it's all diet. What you eat is what you is.
So I take it you're not ordering pizzas for room service?
How'd you know? But you are, right? I caught you already. I knew it. Now, if you eat great, really great, Monday to Friday, from Saturday to Sunday, you can turn into the biggest hog in the universe, and you won't gain an ounce, and you get it all out of your system. So all you have to do is be good for like 4.5 days during the week.
You got in insane shape for this movie. How did you do that?
Well, I mean, I don't know about like insane shape. We did a lot of training for the movie. We did fight training every morning for the movie, five days a week, and then we did tactical training with live ammunition and like two times a week also.
You used live ammunition?
Yes, we used live ammunition.
Why is that necessary?
Well, I mean, we're actors, and I think the director just thought it might be fun to watch us deal with live ammunition. I
didn't even plan on gaining the weight, and I started living a life like Kenny Wells and looked up in the mirror one day and was like, these pants don't fit anymore. And I was about 18 plus, I was like, well, this is the way we're going, and got to 47.
Was it hard not being beautiful at all? I mean, was it...
You know how much fun it was for 6 months to say, you have one rule, McConaughey, any desire, you must say yes, and if you think twice about it, you must have double. That was a lot of fun. Pizza night in our household is every Friday night. For the 6 months doing this film, pizza night was Tuesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, Saturday. If you wanted to go bowling or to the carnival on a school night at midnight, I was saying, great idea.
No problem. Oh, boy, the kids must be wanting you to do a sequel to this movie.
They miss Kenny Wells.
What was the most brutal day? There's a scene in the hallway where Shingen, or played by Hiro, and I have this fight. And I have my shirt off in that scene, so it's a key sort of moment physically. I had to be in peak condition for that. And I went on a water dehydration diet so that I could be as ripped and cut as possible for that. So for 24, 30 hours, you don't drink any liquids. So I had a massive headache. I trained really hard that morning, and you start cramping up. And then we were doing this fight I had the real claws on, he had the sword, and it was very precise. Now, Hiro is done 80 films, and he's a genius. And he can pull a sword like that far from you every time. Me? Not. I didn't tell him this, but I am very clumsy. I've stabbed more than one person playing this part. And he was very, very trusting of me. But I was headachy, a little bit faint, and doing that fight sequence. By far the toughest day of all. I was glad to walk away from that one. I mean, you've done this over and over again, but I mean, is it safe to say this is the furthest you've pushed yourself physically?
Yeah. It was all new to me, all that getting jacked, working out in the gym. So I was very happy.
Crazy was your workout regimen?
Sick. I mean, especially for me. These guys are used to it. You know, Hugh's been doing it for like 8 years now. Ryan's some kind of crazy phenomenon of masculinity.
I read you gained like 40 pounds of muscle?
I don't know where this 40-pound number keeps coming up. It was about 25 or 30 pounds.
So for 300, I had a long lead-in and then a long film. And for a lot of that time, I was training like 6 hours a day because I had 2 different types of personal trainer. And then all the stunt guys, sword, shield, spear. So it was pretty intense. And by the time, and then pumping, I kept pumping on set and training on set, working after work. So by the time I finished, I didn't want to step in a gym again for a while. And I pretty much managed a year. My problem with staying in shape is often it just involves weights as opposed to cardio, but in 300 it was everything, you know. I mean, our workouts, especially with Mark Twight, was so extreme that it was circuit training with a lot of different kind of weights or stress, and it was just, you know, by 13 minutes you were vomiting on the floor, you know, and we did that on a daily basis. Rowing machines, amazing for me. I love it because I can really just kill on it, and it's just a great way of, it's very intense, and it's, for me, I remember there was a final bit I had to break. I was looking pretty good, but I wasn't quite cut enough, and I just went nuts for a couple of weeks on the rowing machine while I was filming, and it just shed, you know. It made such a huge difference to me, you know, and really I could kill it. I could just, you know, when I finished there, I knew I'd had a workout, you know. Rowing machine. I mean, the ones that are best for me, the ones that I know work, are the ones that I hate the most, you know. And then cardio, always a killer. Cardio, cardio, cardio. I hate it, but it's the one that makes the difference. I mean, I kind of love to just go into the gym and do weights, but unfortunately you can't always get away with that, you know. So when you combine weights with circuit training, it's a great way of building muscle, but in a leaner way, and also burning fat, because you're doing a lot of cardio as well, because you're moving so fast, you know, that you're...
And it was a pretty intense process. A lot of training, and believe it or not, the hardest part was physically eating that amount of food. I had to put on about 17 pounds. It was crazy. I mean, aside from the training, which was literally, it consumed my life for a while. Very intense, a lot of heavy lifting. I won't get into that, it's boring. The hardest part was eating, you know? You just have to eat a ton of calories. And it was all hard calories. It was a lot of chicken breast. I was eating so much chicken breast that the hardest part about it was actually chewing it all. So I would just put it into a blender, blend it all up, and just drink chicken. Isn't that gross? And also, I had to eat like a ton of food. So there were sort of these pre-packaged meals from this company called Zen Foods out of LA, and they just put like 6,000 calories into containers and would just feed it to me all day.
Did you say 6,000 calories?
Up to 6,000 calories a day.
A day?